Hey, where the trolleys at? Where you at? You ready to wash draws? No, I'm just playing. I wouldn't do that to you. I probably already have. Is this your way of getting back at me? Stop it. Anyway, from the ground up, 51. It's your boy. Hey, check this out. I think last time I left off, I was talking about how I got, you know, denied interest into NNCC back on NNCC yard. Because I basically got kicked off Gene Nevada yard. You know, me and Richie Rich then, we was doing too much. And I was extorting people, and they dropped the kite on me. I couldn't go back to the yard, so they ended up sending me to NNCC. Miss Matlock was cool. They wanted her to send me to Ely, but she summoned the NNCC. And it was hard to send me, you know, really out from, you know, down south because I had, you know, the issues from being stabbed and I was going to the doctors and stuff like that, you know. So they eventually they sent me to NNCC. NNCC didn't want me there, so they sent me to NSP. Now, when I got to NSP, it's the oldest prison in the state of Nevada, one of the oldest prisons probably in America. And you know, it was real known for being one of those prisons that shoot a lot. It was a lot of death in that prison. You know, that prison. You know, like one of my OG homeboys, Paul Mason. He got killed in there. You know, by a white boy named Danny Clark. You know, and you know that's where the Black Warriors. You know, it was a lot of raping going on in that prison back then. You know, Big P, Big Pretty, who's an infamous character up there. Leroy Collins, big 450-pound dude, big old dude, man, was a cold booty bandit. You know what I mean? And I'll get to him later. But you know, when I got there, you know, it was a what was his name? It was a real warden Enixio or whatever his name is. But he let the broad Debbie man run the yard. You know, but anyway, when I get there, you know, that yard was real strict. They got an upper yard and a lower yard. The upper yard is the newer part of the prison. You know, unit 6 through 13. And unit 5, which is called a bullpen, on down to unit 2, is the lower yard. Now when you go down there, you actually go down a hill and through a tunnel, and you actually, it's like you go back in time because the buildings down there are still the buildings that was used back during that time. So you still seeing the wall where the carriages came in and brought the prisoners. The hole that they used back during the 1800s, which was in a cave. It's like it was weird, man. But anyway, you know, they had what was known as the cell house, which consisted of 4 floors, and it didn't have no doors. It just had bars. So that tells you how back in the day and how old that prison was. All right, and I told you in my last video some of the characters that was on that yard. You know, and everybody had nice sized cars. You know, and we had one of the biggest cars on there. Now, when I got there, the MRU, which is the Mexican Raza United, had a war with the Serenos. The Serenos ended up running our MRUs off the yard, and they was just letting us off, I guess, lockdown. Now, Jackie Crawford became the director of prisons, and she was the warden at Lovelock. Now, this is a female, okay, and it was the first time I was ever up under a female director, and she implemented what was known as a level system, you know, and you had to basically earn your rights to, you know, be on the yard or go to the gym, and you started off at level 3 and you had to work your way up to level 1, and you did that by getting jobs, staying out of trouble, or just staying in level 3 for like 3 months, and then you move to level 2. So they implementing this all around the prison system now. So, you know, to get to the lower yard, you have to go to different units. So when I first got to NSP, you know, I was on the upper yard, and we was basically locked in this big old field all day with nothing to do. Just a big wide field with a baseball field and like three bleachers, you know, for card playing. And they took the horseshoes because of the ride with my homies in the Callies. Lil G from Alley Shot slapped the boy Day Day with a horseshoe and knocked his whole chin this way. You know, it was just, you know. So we basically didn't have nothing, but they shot a lot up there. They would shoot you, and you had guards like Hanky, Benefield, you know, Miss Owens, Colombo. They were some cold haters, man, and all they do is live to shoot. They shoot, man. You be shell shocked when you leave NSP. They shoot so much up there. But you have to understand, that's one prison that saw a lot of killings. And every prisoner that got killed up there, they got pictures of them in Unit 12, of the actual everything from Doc, who got stabbed like 40 some times on his way to the shower. They got pictures of him laid out. They got pictures of Paul Mason, who got stabbed when he was getting his hair cut. He was 2 days from going home. They got a picture of the boy, Mr. Bean, who was the oldest prisoner in the state of Nevada. He burnt the dude up. He unscrewed his light bulb and put some paint thinner in there and screwed it back, because up in the cell house, it's old school. You can unscrew your light bulb and stuff like that. So when dude turned on his light, he ended up looking like a charcoal tree stump in his cell. He was just a fireball. So it was a bunch of killing up there, man. But anyway, when I get up there, me, I adapt to my surroundings off the top. And that's why I ran into Big Mouse from Anthony's Park. He was in the hole. And Big Mouse was this real stocky, he was real buff, older cat, wore little glasses, looked like a little mouse. And he had this raspy like voice. What's up? And I used to be like, where you from? I'm Big Mouse. Where you from? Anthony's Park. I'm Big Mouse, huh? He had this raspy like voice, man. Big Mouse was on swole too. And then, I guess it was just something about me. He used to come to me, hey, sheepdog, they ain't on swole like us. We sit on dubs around them. We sit on rims, ain't we? He had that type of voice. He was real like aggressive, like an older cap, straight from Cali. Anthony's Park General, Big Mouse, Roger Moe. Rest in peace, man. That's where I met him at. And Big Jimmy from NTG, Big Jim. He got his channel. Jimmy Jam, he a real one. I met him up there. And I remember he called his case, he was a youngster. So it was a lot of people on his yard, man. And Sean Landenberger, the two-tire killer. I remember his father from Elko. And, they called Sean Landenberger Booger. He was a little short, fat white boy. He was cool as a motherfucker. But NSP was filled with Mark McElmo. It was filled with a lot of people. And so I realized something on that yard real fast. It was dangerous. It was tense, but it was a lot of money. And I seen that poker, they played a lot of poker. It wasn't really nothing to do. They played a lot of poker in the units. They wouldn't even come on the yard because they would stay in the unit and play poker. So I realized real fast that was the thing. So I slowly moved through the level system, observing. You know what I'm saying? I was in a unit with 6-0 boy, Cherry Nut, all us. We was always, we was all, Bounce, Ray Turner. We was all cool. Mike Jacobson. We was all in a unit together. And it was kind of cool. It was something new to me. I didn't like the 4-man pods and 12-man, rooms. It was small. I didn't like that. But, and then like every night around like 6 o'clock, the cesspool scent would come through the whole prison. I didn't like that. So it was a lot of stuff about NSP that was just terribly, it was gross, man. I mean, that prison needed to be shut down a long time ago. But they had us living in that filth. But anyway, I started, maneuvering and using my fandangles to get to where I needed to be. And so I realized poker was the thing. So one day they had this big movement from Lovelock. They sent a lot of people from Lovelock to High Desert because, to NSP because High Desert had opened. And they gave a lot of people from NSP the opportunity to go to High Desert because it was the biggest prison in Nevada. So they closed Gene and sent them over there, and they started asking people for volunteers because they wanted to give people, a chance to get to good jobs. So a lot of people left from NSP, and they brought a lot of people from Lovelock to NSP. And one of them persons they bought was Charles Webb, one of the guys that was paying me for protection at Indian Springs, the basketball player. Now, player from 6-0s, California, big player. He came, no good from 6-0s. Rockadon from East Coast. All these cats come to the yard, and they got trouble with Charles Webb. He do what he do best. Charles Webb be with them with that police stuff, and they was accusing him of telling on somebody, and they was about to get him. He came to me, and basically, I saved him, and he bought me a store. Like, he bought me 13 bags of chips, a bunch of cookies, and all that, and I opened me up a store. That was my first operation of trying to have money at NSP. But Charles Webb, he fell in love with a homosexual named Tita from Reno. Get to messing with this dude. Now, check this out, man. This dude here got a Fu Manchu, hairy as I don't know what. I mean, look like he ride motorcycles for a living. And this dude, Charles Webb, messing with this. Hey, do what you do, man. But anyway, they together. Now the homosexual got money too. He might be gay, but he was in Reno robbing banks and shit. So the bad money, right? And the fact he know how to play poker real good. So not only do I got a store, the fact he got the poker game going on, and Charles Webb and the bad one, right? So automatically, when it was time for the pot to be get handed out or whatever, they wouldn't pay the boy because he was gay. A lot of dudes would be in debt like $300 and be like, F you, I ain't paying you nothing. Get it how you get it, because he was a homosexual, right? So Charles Webb come to me one day. He said, hey, Sheep, I got a $300 debt. You can have it if you get it. Who? He told me who it was. This dude named Pigpen. Well, I know him. That's the one be gambling with Goo. So I go press him. I get it. Real easy. So now I'm like, damn, $300 that fast? And I'm running the store. I'm working out with Doom Bucket. He telling me, hey, Shep, man, get that money, man. We can get us some creatine and all these supplements to lift weights with, right? But I'm like, damn, that's some easy money. So I told Charles, I'm like, man, shit, like, who else owes money? I became the debt collector. So whenever people lost, I came and get that. When they won, I came and I paid you. I don't even know how to play poker, but I know how to collect debts. So I became the debt collector, right? Now, remember I just told you about that boy Pigpen. Now, his mama is a surgeon, and his daddy owned like 5, 6 businesses. So he up here gambling big. I really don't know nothing of him at this time, because I never had to go to him and collect the debt. He always paid. He had money. But I didn't know that Rule Barron and Google them was extorting him in the unit. He stayed in Unit 9. I stayed in a shell house. I didn't know nothing about that, right? So one day, he come to me, the boy Pigpen. He said, hey, ain't you Sheep? I said, yeah, what's happening? He said, man, can you tell your homeboy Google to leave me alone? I'm like, what you mean tell your homeboy Google to leave you alone? He like, man, Google hit me in my eye last night, man, talking about I owe him some money, man. I don't owe Google no money, man. I say, what you mean? I told him I was gonna give him a couple dollars, man, for a little buy-in for the poker game, man. And I ended up losing. I was gonna do that on GP. I don't owe him nothing. And when I ain't get it to him, he hit me in my eye, man. I don't want no problems, man. So I'm like, I know Google ass ain't down there, and I know Strawberry. I know how he is. So I went over there. I said, Google, leave that boy alone, man. Google said, man, fuck that Google, right? He ain't trying to hear it. I said, Google, leave that boy alone. You go mess up everything. That dude go tell. He came to me. He put me in it. I don't want to be in that. I'm on some other stuff. Right? So, Google said, I'm going to leave him alone. Right? So, I guess the boy started, he started winning. See, they thought that they was going to pill him for his money, but that boy just so happened to know how to play poker. and he started peeling them. Right? So now they don't want to pay him. Right? They trying to flip it and get his money, but he know how to play. So now they owe him. So it backfired against him. So now they just straight deboing the boy. When he come from the store, even though they owe him, they going in his room and they just taking his stuff. So guess who he go to for protection? Big Pretty. He went to Big. Boy, you was better off going to the devil himself before you went to Big Pretty. But he went to Big Pretty. And Big Pretty became his bodyguard. But what he didn't know that he signed up for was that it was perks that came with that. And the kind of perks that Big Pretty was finna, he now dig, guess how Big Pretty showed everybody that that was his boy. One day during store, Big Pretty and the boy was sitting on the bench. They got benches over there by the culinary on the lower yard. So when you go get your store, you gotta walk by them. And you can sit on them bleachers and look at everybody at store. Or you can look in front of Unit 3, which is the sale houses, or the library, or whatever. Big Pretty waited for that whole yard to like fill up, because people was going to school. Some people was, going to the law library. It's a lot of things down on the lower yard. He waited till everybody got nice and thick out there. He put his arm around that boy and took a Jolly Rancher out of his mouth and put it in that boy's mouth. Right in front of our face. And G-Boy jumped in there and said, "God damn!" And you can tell the boy was like, he was shocked. I'm pretty sure he was grossed out, but he didn't spit it out. I'm just saying, he didn't spit it out. Anyway, as time went on, I started getting beside myself, I let everything that happened and was happening go to my head. I was collecting debts. I was extorting people again. I was working out trying to make it appear that I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't really kicking it with my homeboys like that. I was kicking it with Ray Turner every day. We were just on the weight pile. You wouldn't thought I was even a Gershon because I didn't hang around him. I was on the weight pile, always separate, doing me. But I was in most stuff than you can imagine. I was doing stuff on the low, thinking I'm slick. And one day Assassin, he OG Blood, Tony Hickman, he decided he wanted, and I'm cool with him. But Assassin, one of them dudes that get on your nerves. He play too much, he talk too much, and he lie too much, and I'm just keeping it real. And the Damus, they know I'm not lying. Tony Hickman be lying like a mother. But anyway, he get in the game. He end up losing $400 and some. Right? Now, I got to go to him. Now, they done sent Horsehead, Pac-Man, Hercules, Rod-O, Kiki. It's so many bloods on their yard, it ain't even funny. They done sent Lil Bread to the yard, and I'm gonna get to that. But one day, Assassin got in debt, man, and I wasn't pressing him at first like that because, he was a dog, he was an OG dog, and I was like, well, whenever you get it right, holler at me. But once a week go by and I come back and you still ain't got it, now I'm looking at you crazy. All right? But anyway, I'm going to step away from there and talk about Lil Bread. He hit the yard. Off the top, I haven't seen him since we was at NNCC when I got stabbed. A lot of stuff has happened in between. Bread got killed for one. And he up there for robbing a bar. So when he come and we get to talking, I straight up ask him what happened. He tell me, I'm not feeling it, and he know I'm not. I'm telling myself, like, how you up here for robbing a bar? You Greedy and Trip Mac. Y'all get caught for robbing a bar, but they laid Big Bread down. You got his name. How you didn't ride for that like that, man? You didn't ride for your brother. He go tell me all he had was, I ain't gonna even go there, but he gonna ask me basically what was I at, and I'm gonna see what you go do when you get out. What you mean you go see what I do when I get out? For real, that's your brother. He was like a brother to me, but that's your brother. Now, I don't advocate violence now, but back then, I couldn't understand how you didn't ride. And so off the top, me and him not getting along. One day, him and Keystone get in a fight, and BT was finna stab Lil Bread. Sportio told BT, man, don't do that, man. And he like, sheep, man, y'all, come on, man. Look at what you think Big Bread to think. And he don't even know Big Bread. But he like, what you think Big Bread to think about this? So I stopped BT from stabbing him. But I told him, he basically, dude, you X'd. Ask him. I told him, you X'd. You can't come back. You through. You not a part of us. You ain't signing no birthday cards, no nothing. Nigga, you ain't no G. You might as well take your ass back to Santana Block. And Lil Brother tell you, I told him that in his face. I said, you from Compton. I really went there on him. So you a disgrace. And me and him, we never seen eye to eye since. Okay? He started hanging out with Kiki from Pyru, Keith James. That became Lil Bread best friend. And Duke Daddy from Donna. That became Lil Bread best friend. In fact, him and Duke Daddy became cellies. He even stopped Tadal from Donna from getting killed by the boy Bone. He took a knife from the Islander boy Bone and saved Tadal. Lil Bread loved him Donnas. I'm just keeping it real. But anyway, so I started pressing the Blood Boy Assassin. Get back to him. So I'm getting tired of this cat slow playing me. I go to him one day, he tried to give me a clock radio. What the hell I'm gonna do with this? A clock radio? He said, yeah, it's worth. I don't care what it's worth. I don't want this. When you win, we pay you. When you lose, pay up. So now I'm basically not, I'm letting my, my immaturity, me trying to be something that I'm not, which is Billy Badass. There's no such thing. And I didn't let all this fictitious power that I think I've amassed get to my head. I'm dealing with stuff like I'm a straight up chief. I got dudes old enough to be my daddy coming to me asking me what to do. I'm letting all this go to my head, not knowing this is the worst thing that could be happening to me. But I'm stupid because, you know what? A lot of times people don't understand. We do things to take our mind off reality. The reality of the situation was that I wasn't going home, and I don't think I ever was. I was stabbed up. I ain't have no hope. I didn't have nothing but prison. And I embraced everything about prison and its culture. And I became what prison make people, if you allow it to, institutionalized. And I began to operate as such. I tried to take over that yard, and I was doing a damn good job of it. But when I tried to press this boy, what I did is when I threatened him, he gave me a bag of taste of choice. I said, if you don't have my money by Saturday, I'm going to kill you. That was the biggest mistake I could have ever made. Because he went back and he told them Bloods. Sheep said he going to kill me. What you mean? Sheep says, no, he didn't. So Pac-Man came to me and was like, hey, Sheep, let me holler at you. What's up with you and Assassin? Said that nigga better have my motherfucking whoop by Saturday, or I'm gonna kill him straight up. And if he want to get out, we can get out. I'm talking like that to Pac-Man. Now, Pac-Man is like Ricky Cooper. You not finna talk to him like that. No. That's the high echelon of the Damuka. So he looked at me like, okay. He wasn't like, He was just looking at me, shaking his head like, okay, okay. And I'm thinking I done something like, yeah, I just talk bad to Pac-Man. Who else want to get talked bad to? I don't care about nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm a beast. You can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Man, check this out. Them bloods got together and decided they go teach me a lesson and show me, right? I ain't thinking about none of that. I'm oblivious to it. That shows the inexperience and the immaturity. Because I'm so full of myself, I'm not knowing that these dudes is planning to kill me. And don't none of my homeboys know what's going on. All I'm doing is going around checking traps. I got about 3 stoves in other people's rooms. Bounce got one in his room. Doom Buggy had one in his room. I had one in my room. My partner Sean Landenberger had one in his room. I had about 4 or 5 stores in different people's rooms, man. So you can't tell me nothing. I'm having everything I want on the yard, man. I was actually having people that worked in the store, that ordered the store, order my special stuff. I was having them order me oils and scented lotions out of the store. And didn't nobody know that. The people that was ordering your top ramens and your chilies and all that, when they made what they made, sure that they ordered me some scented lotion and oils on the side too. That's how much control that I was gaining on that yard. I was doing what I wanted to do. I got a job in the kitchen and became the line supervisor. I ran a line. So I started, you couldn't tell me nothing. I showed up to work when I wanted to. I can come in there and make whatever I wanted to. I had the boy KC. He was so scared. KC was from Cali. He was one of the guys that, when I got stabbed, was on that yard. And we ended up back at NSP years later. But he thought I probably still had animosity. I didn't. But he was so scared. You know, he was like the baker. He used to bake me pizzas and everything. Pineapple cakes, all that, man. I was having it my way. And on this one particular day, though, all that came crashing to an end. Man, check this out. Dan Lope was on that yard. Me, Dan Lope, and Bert walked up to the upper yard, not oblivious. We oblivious to what's going on. Ain't nobody said nothing. Don't nobody know nothing. But I'm gonna tell you, betrayal. Watch this. When we go up on the upper yard, I'm looking for Charles Webb. Right? So when we go up on the upper yard, soon as the gate shut, now I noticed, damn, it's 1,000 miles. It ain't normally this many people up here at night, because people got to go to work in the morning. It's a lot of black people up here. An awful lot of black people up here. Martin Luther King Day Jr. parade looking type people, you know. I'm like, what the hell? So when we go up there, I'm not paying no attention to that, because I'm like, ain't got nothing to do with me. So soon as they shut them gates up there on the upper yard, right? Because when you level 1, you can choose to go on the upper yard or lower yard. You got movement. You can go to the gym whenever you want to, everything. So when they shut that damn gate and the police walked away from it, Kiki from Paru Blood, he said, yeah, sheepdog. And nigga, you ain't finna be up around here deep boy no bloods neither, nigga. And he said it just like that. And I looked, and I tried to raise my voice at me, and as soon as I started raising my voice up, man, about 1 million bloods stood up. And when I was finna say what I said, yeah, nigga, what, man? I started stuttering. Like, what the fuck? Right then and there, we was got. And they start coming toward us. And then look, I keep it real. When you win some, you lose some. Why lie? Check this out. Bert. I look at Bert. Bert like, wait, what's going on, man? Hold on. Bert about to pass out. He literally rocking back and forth, going, wait, hold on. It's 1,000 bloods coming toward us. They finna kill us. Right? Dan Lope, he can fight. then from K9, that boy can get down. I put my money on him with against a bunch of dudes. That boy can get down. Sister Dorothy can get down. Kathleen can get down. You know, but when Kiki got too close, he was like, "Don't walk up on my homie." And I'm looking at him like, "Why would you say that? You aggravating the circumstances, man. Well, don't let he got freedom of movement. Don't." I'm like, he gonna say, "Don't walk up on my homie." It's a hey, look. They had us. And when Kiki walked up on him, I thought they was gonna kill us. He said, "Check this out. All that shit you around here doing, you ain't finna be deep-boying no bloods." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Check this out." He said, "Man, I don't wanna hear that shit." He was like, "Man, come on, man, fuck that." He said, "Fuck that faggot, fuck that poker game, and fuck that bullshit you want, nigga. You ain't finna be around here." He straight checked the shit out. And look, it's 3 of us. It's 90 of them. What you want me to do? You want me to say fuck you? You want me to say, you want me to start, nigga, this Gershon, you want me to die? Yeah, you do. Y'all, some of y'all wish I was, nah, it ain't happen like that. Only in a perfect world. I sat there and took what he said, because if I would have said anything, I was through. And I was like, man, he was like, you know what I'm saying? You niggas around here, he was, and Horsehead and Pac-Man stalled it down. He said, Pac-Man said, "I'm gonna tell you like this. I talked to you and I talked to him. Both of you niggas is wrong. He out of line for gambling on his ass. And you out of line for getting at him like that. Nigga, we from the West. We from Vegas. We don't get at each other like that. Especially behind no motherfucking shit like this. Excuse my French if I'm cussing too much. But he said, especially behind this, we don't get down like that." Right? So I'm just so glad he got this diplomatic approach, right? Because it's letting me know that I might live another day. Because I'm the type of dude that keep it real, them Bloods was finna kill us. Right? My homeboys is nowhere to be found. And guess who was with the Bloods? And I talk about Betrayal. Just like I told you Casanova was with the Crips in the last story when they came to Unit 2. Guess who was with the Bloods? And Dan Lope and Bert, they know that. Lil Bread was with the Bloods. I grew up with you. All that stuff we did together. When you and Bread jumped LJ from PB's and the helicopter caught y'all and they got you and they sent you back to Cali and you came back, who was you with every day? Huh? Who was you with when you turned 18 in juvenile? Who was you with when you ain't had nothing to eat? Who house you came to? Who used to walk around the Gershon all night with? Remember, I had the black 357, you had the chrome. Who used to make smothered potatoes and chicken with? When we was full of that 8-ball, listen to King T. She was lucky I was nice and I didn't act the fool. I watched you cry. Behind that chicken head ass broad you used to go with. The one that used to make the chili fries. I watched you cry. And what you do? You clicked up with the Bloods. It's all good, brother. It's the gang. But anyway, the police, they was right there on it. So whatever they was gonna do, I would've got dead, but they was gonna shoot it up. But once Pac-Man them calmed it down, I basically let it go. I was like, all right, and Pac-Man was like, check this out. I'm gonna give you this and that shit over with. He ain't give me nowhere near what they owe. Nowhere near. But I accepted it because it came with my life. So when I left, I called him. I get mad. I called him. By the way, I want to get Lil Bread first. He first. Then Lope like, nah, man, come on, man. Nah, man, come on, man. Nah, I'm like, nah, we already spared him with the Keystone situation. Let's get him. Sportio like, man, I can't support that. Bounced him like, nah, man, I can't. I'm like, what you mean? So half was for and half was against it. So BT basically said, man, what's up with them, the Bloods? We didn't have enough knives at that time to go. We had numbers, but we didn't have the knives. But we had a homeboy named Bernard, Woody little brother, Pony. He worked in PI. So I told him to bring us some steel. And the steel that we had was the fencing. The fence material that they lock us in with, the gate material. Those long little poles, I had those. And I had 11 of them. And I had them sharpened. And I had handles put on them. And I know everybody I gave one to. And we was gonna take off on the Bloods. We was gonna wait, let it die down, because I was feeling some type of way of how they checked me. The alliance of biscuits and gravy was basically over. It was over on the street, and it was basically over in prison. We got along with the Bloods. We was cordial toward each other, but it was not like we was together like we once was. So I was planning to hit the Bloods when they least expected, right? And I set the date. We was go get them after lunch. Let me collect all my shit and get ready for this lockdown and where we go, but we go get them. I wanted to leave. I wanted to be on on their mind. Now, they just locked Kayla them up. Kayla ended up getting locked up and getting his sentence overturned. So they shot Kayla out of there. But the ones that was there, I was finna get them. Look what my homies did. Check this out. When they seen that I was really finna get them, the Bloods, they decided to get the investigator more involved. Ain't that right, Bounce? I'm Victor. We got investigator Moore. You called him for a nice conversation, about a laundry room with your laundry bag. Remember that? And inside your laundry bag, you had your knife that I had gave to you. And you gave it to him. He didn't lock you up, but he told you to tell the rest of them. They had 24 hours to turn him in, or he was coming to get him. And without me knowing, you told him. And what they do, because they didn't know how to get him to him. They were scared. They put him in envelopes, and they wrote Investigator Moore on the envelope, and y'all put him in a mailbox. They came and they swooped me up. Remember when they called on yard? And they ain't even called me by my government. When they came on, they said, attention on the yard, sheep, dog, report to Unit 3 and me. They didn't even say Terrell Stewart. They said sheep, dog. You can ask anybody. They said my monkey on the prison yard and told me to report to Unit 3. And when I got there, Warden Budge and Investigator Moore was waiting on me. They took pictures of my tattoos and was asking me weird questions. After the questions, they left. I thought I got away. Like, what was that about? And I knew something was up because Kiki said, hey, man, then people came and talked to you? I said, yeah. He said, man, they came and asked me, what's up with me and you? I was like, what you tell them? I told them, ain't nothing up with me and you. And they was like, asking me if you was trying to extort some shit they was telling. I was like, oh, fuck. I knew what that meant, right? So now I'm scrambling. I'm telling people, hey, man, I might be going to the hole, right? But the people that I'm telling I might be going to the hole, they already know. They already know. So they looking at me like, what? What happened? You turned your knife in and told them you got it from me. But I ain't know this at the time. But that's what y'all did. Sportio. Huh? Remember that? Do I need to name y'all? I don't even do you like that, huh? How y'all did me? And they came and locked me up. They put me on the investigation. They had me locked up for 5 months in Unit 12. That's how I knew that they had pictures of people that got killed in NSP. They had me in Unit 12 away from the yard. And then when they had me locked up, what y'all telling people? Because it was on my write-up, remember? That I was the leader and that I was instrumental in the possession and distribution of prison-made records. They messing with my Wi-Fi. And using my, you see how they messing with my Wi-Fi? But anyway, they had so many charges. I had like 9 majors, 6 generals, and 3 minors. I'm finna get life in Ely, man. And you know how they convicted me? My own people told on me. My own people. And they got sent to Ely. They told me about what I said to Lil Bread. They told me about stuff that only a homie can tell them. They knew why I hid the knives. But they didn't even lock Pony up for giving them to me. Did nobody get locked up but me? And I got sent to Ely. Remember that? Well, I was bitter for a long time after I got sent to Ely. Because they gave me 3 years in the hole. But Ely is a hole. So they don't really, when you go to Ely, they don't put you in a hole because Ely is a hole. You have to really like stab a CO or kill somebody to get put in phase 1 or HRP, which high risk prisoner type status, to when you go to Ely. But if you just go to Ely with 3 years in the hole, you basically in the hole anyway because it's locked down. So they screw that. You know what I'm saying? But I went to Ely. And I want to say this. Thank you. Thank you for sending me to Ely. Because by this time, I have been in prison about 9-10 years almost. And I was really starting to see things for what they were. You know, and I ended up back in the hole. And it was always going out there on the yard, but I always ended up back in the hole. And every time I went back in the hole, you know, I got a little bit more wiser. Even though I went out there and still did the same stupid stuff. I did get a little bit more wiser. I just didn't want to accept the fact that I was getting wiser. I still believed in that homieism stuff. But when that happened to me for the first time in my life, I really was questioning that. Bread. Look, Bread was dead. Me and Lil Bread was no more homie. I didn't look at him as a homie. I said some things to him that he probably never go forgive me for. And at that time, I meant them. But what happened to me, and maybe I deserved it. Maybe I was putting him in a position to where, hey, man, we ain't trying to be going to war and getting stabbed up behind something you doing, man. You know, I ain't look at it from their standpoint. You know, and maybe I should have. Just like they should look at it from my standpoint when I got stabbed up all them times behind them. So there's really no wrong or no right in this. It isn't. There's no wrong or no right. There's just reality. And you can accept it or not. And my interpretation of that reality isn't everybody else's. That's why I didn't put it out there like that. I just said there's no wrong or no right in this. There's just reality. And the reality of the fact is, we make decisions. And sometimes we make horrible ones. And we look for people to blame. And all along, the person is right there, you. And you become bitter at everybody but the person you're supposed to be, you. Because you made those choices. Now, whether people didn't do what you expected them to do, that's neither here nor there. When it's all said and done, you. It comes back to you. That's why I always went back to the hole. That's why I always got stabbed. That's why I always got told on. That's why I only have one eye. When I come back, I start on my road to redemption, and harsh realities became norms that I had to accept. Perspective became something I had to come familiar with. Introspection was something that I had to become vehemently in tune with. Looking within, and my road to redemption was hard. It was horrible, but it was necessary. And when I come back, I start to realize it's not do or die. Till then, from the ground up.